This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. October 10th is World Mental Health Day, and this year we are saying thank you to therapists. BetterHelp therapists have helped over 5 million people worldwide on their mental health journeys. That's millions of stories and millions of journeys. Behind each one of them is a therapist who showed up, listened, and helped someone take that next step forward. Moments in therapy, like asking the right questions, having a safe place to get emotional or cry, or small wins, they can change lives. This World Mental Health Day, BetterHelp is honoring those connections and the therapists who make them possible while showing how easy it is to get guidance from a licensed therapist online with BetterHelp. I've been doing therapy for over 2 years and I couldn't recommend it enough. It's helped me so much with relationships with my friends, families, even myself. It's helped me understand myself better, and it's just made for such a better life. It really has. With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally. And it works with an average rating of 4.9 out of 5 for live sessions based on over 1.7 million client reviews. This World Mental Health Day, we are collaborating with those therapists who have helped millions of people take a step forward. If you're ready to find the right therapist for you, BetterHelp can help you start that journey. Our listeners get 10% off of their first month at BetterHelp.com/PFF. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/PFF. We got a Monday night doubleheader. It's an early and it's a late slate. We got the Bucs and the Lions teeing off at 7:15, and then the Texans and Seahawks at 10 p.m. Eastern. So we're obviously going to talk about the Bucs and the Lions first. But before we dig into it, Teron Armstead, our guy, was back to talk about an incredible trench matchup that we have here this week in this game. Aiden Hutchinson versus Tristan Wirfs. Let's see what he had to say. Here we go. Another Monday Night Football doubleheader. And the first of those is the Buccaneers and the Lions, which, Teron, these two teams, depending on what power rankings you look at, they could be 1 and 2. There's people who like the Lions a ton. I know they're coming off the loss to the Chiefs, but still, they've had a great couple of first games. They're obviously one of the most talented teams in the NFL. Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers are 5-1. So this is, for some people, 1 versus 2 here on primetime and Monday Night Football. And we also have two of the best in the trenches as well. I got to talk about Aiden Hutchinson and Tristan Wirfs going head-to-head. Now, they're not always going to go head-to-head, of course. I think the Lions are going to say, guy on the other side of the offensive line is not Tristan Wirfs. So I don't know how many times we get this matchup, but I hope we get it plenty because there are going to be fireworks when it happens. Who do you want to talk about first? I will give you the dealer's choice. We're going to talk about both of these guys. You want to talk about Tristan Wirfs, what makes him so great, or Aiden Hutchinson having another elite pass rush year?
I'll talk about Tristan Wirfs first. It's only right, in the fraternity, the O-line fraternity.
There you go.
Show love to the big dog first. Tristan he's incredible. He's always been in the discussion as tackle 1, 2, or 3, however you wanna slate it. And he's coming off injury where he didn't play earlier in the season, so he's getting back and getting his groove again. He's finding his timing, his technique, and as the season progresses, he'll be able to knock rust off and look even more dominant in the weeks to come. It's crazy that these guys are able to be 5-1 without him in the lineup for a lot of these games. Baker is playing incredible. He's his timing in the pocket, his pocket presence, he's extending plays. He's not taking many sacks. He's playing on the MVP level. So your quarterback operating that style of play and the way that he's being productive, it gives you more confidence on the O-line. Like me blocking Aiden Hutchinson with the way that Baker Mayfield is playing right now, it changes that dynamic. If you got a quarterback that's very indecisive, he's sitting in the pocket, he's drifting back, that changes things. That keep you up at night. It stresses you out even more. So the way Baker is playing, Tristan Wirfs will be really comfortable in this matchup against Aiden Hutchinson.
So Tristan Wirfs has not given up a sack yet this season. You mentioned he missed a couple of games, so he's only played in 3, but he hasn't given up a sack yet this year. He didn't give up a sack, or we didn't credit him with giving up a sack all of last year as well. So he hasn't had a sack that is truly his fault since 2023, which is pretty crazy to say. Huh? What? Yeah, I mean, it's a crazy number. And when you look at his pass blocking efficiency numbers, 97.4 this year, it's about where it is every single year at 97, 98, 99. He is just one of the best pass protectors in the NFL. And Teron, when I watch him, the thing that impresses me the most is the athleticism and the balance, those two things, because there are times when I will watch Tristan Wirfs where, he'll try to get hands on a guy early. He'll try to get an early punch in there, knock them off of their rhythm, knock them off of their pass rush route, if you will, disrupt them in that way. But there are some times when he goes for it and the pass rusher's ready for it. So either he'll swipe the hands away or, he'll be able to bounce off it a little bit. But it's that recovery, athleticism, and balance that allows him to get there. You're one of the most athletic offensive tackles in the NFL during your time. Talk to me about how important that core strength, that balance is to having that sort of an output as a pass blocker.
It's vital. It's vital. It's very, very important, especially with the evolution of rushers nowadays. I didn't even talk about Aiden Hutchinson yet, but we can discuss him as well. But like the evolution of these rushers and the Euro steps and all the lateral movement that these guys are incorporating into their rushes, you have to be able to mirror and have that lateral ability as well. And the thing about Tristan Wirfs, like for me, my athleticism was the strength of my game. Like I had to play that way. I was never the biggest tackle. He is probably the biggest tackle, but also probably the best athlete. So it's like, man, he's made in a laboratory. If you're designing an offensive lineman, a left tackle, you're going to build Tristan Wirfs.
I mean, what he brings to the table is incredible. You talk about the pass rush moves that a lot of these guys have. I love how you brought up the Euro step, right? It's a little bit of an extra step in there from like a cross trot move. I think of the Manu Ginobili Spurs days where he's, taking the exaggerated 1-2. If I was an offensive lineman, just to get in their head, I'd be yelling travel. If they gave me some sort of a Euro move, I'd be yelling travel at them to get them off of their game. Maybe make them laugh a little bit, be less intense, because that could be your advantage. And whether it's Tristan Wirfs or whoever is going to be going up against Aiden Hutchinson, they need to find those little advantages, right? Third year in a row where Aiden Hutchinson has an elite pass rushing grade this season. He's already got 6 sacks on the year. Another season where his pass rush win percentage is not just above 20, but it's above 25 again this year. Hutch has such a deep bag. He can beat you in so many different ways. And you and I have talked on this show over the last couple of weeks of, okay, when a guy wins with speed, this is how you kind of game plan for him. You mentioned, all right, I got to take away his power first if he's a little bit stronger of a guy. Hutchinson throws so many things at you. He wins from an athletic standpoint, but also such a technical standpoint. So how do you approach players like that really just have this deep pass rush bag, and how you plan for them when they can throw a lot of different stuff at you?
Trevor, I played against Aiden Hutchinson his rookie year, and I walked away from that game thoroughly impressed and glad that I would never have to block that young man again. So I know you guys have probably saw my interview. I'm talking about Jared Verse, and like as the guys that made me step away from the game. Aiden Hutchinson was one of those reasons. He's one of my 13 reasons for sure. We can eliminate all the athleticism, his size, his ability. He is intelligent, and that makes it very, very difficult to block these guys. Like you have all the attributes, you have all the physical traits that you need to do this, but his IQ on the field, the way he is able to read sets. I tried a jump set on him. He went inside immediately. You don't see that for a rookie. No hesitation, swiping hands. He was trying to make an inside move. Like his ability to have a plan so early in his career is scary. He's only going to get better. He's only getting better. He has a 92.3 overall grade right now, 36 pressures. He's leading the league, and it's insane what he's able to do in his young career, and it's only going to grow.
And that's the stuff that gives you a long career too, right? I mean, like you get into the league from being a great athlete, but you stay in the league a long time sort of with your mind and your IQ, and he's setting himself up to have a successful and a long career. I cannot wait to watch this one. This is going to be exciting. As a fan of the game of football, I hope we get Aiden Hutchinson on Tristan Wirfs a lot. As a fan of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I don't know, how much I want him beating up on Tristan Wirfs and making the stats a little bit worse if he ends up getting better. But this is going to be a fun game to watch no matter what. Teron, we appreciate it as always, my friend.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
All right, there we go. Teron Armstead doing a fantastic job, as he always does, helping us break down the trenches here for this major matchup between, like I said, for some people, it's team number 1, team number 2, Detroit Lions and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Could be a preview of the NFC Championship game. Who knows? What do you think about this one, Dalton? You want to talk about the Lions? You want to talk about the Bucs?
I love that. For some people, the Bucs might be number 1. Just some people, a handful of them, some Tampa natives. Some of them, who knows? But anyway,
NFLSC people are gonna get on you because they're gonna get on me because I had them ranked 4th on Monday when we did the power ranking show. But the only reason I really had them 4th is because I didn't drop the Eagles like a rock. I had the Eagles still in the top 3, so it's like, okay, well, the Eagles technically beat the Bucs, so I can't really put them right next to each other and not put the Eagles right there because they won and the results do matter. And then that was also before the Buffalo game, so dropping Buffalo a little bit lower, but yeah, you know how I feel. You know how I feel about the team. Cautiously optimistic. Don't want to get called a homer, but they are one of the best teams.
I'll tell you what. We got to spend a day with the college football playoff committee a few weeks ago, and all of that argument you just made right there would just fit perfectly into the committee. they should get you in for that one, and just that line of deductive reasoning is fantastic.
It is tougher than people think it is. It really is.
Oh, I know. Power rank, and of course you're never. It's just nobody ever thinks you're right when it comes to power ranking. So you know how that goes. Anyway, so I think there are 2 elements to this game. One that I think Tehran talked about there with Aiden Hutchinson, you guys mentioned against Tristan Wirfs, who's so good. But I think it's interesting to me, both of those guys, Hutchinson and Al-Qadim Muhammad, their other edge player who's playing outstanding, especially as a pass rusher right now. And what it's allowed Hutchinson to do is work both sides of the line of scrimmage there, where it used to be he would exclusively line up on the front side and over that right tackle. And in recent years, especially this year, it's a little bit closer to 50-50. Now he can go either way. So we're going to get some of Hutchinson versus Wirfs. We're going to get some of Muhammad on the other side, and I think that's really a matchup too that you want to look at, is that right side with Charlie Heck over there at right tackle still. That's something that needs to be paid attention to as well. So overall, I think the Lions pass rush is a big factor in this game, and the other one too for me is Jared Goff against Todd Bowles against the blitzing, right? I think when you look at Todd Bowles, I think the stat I had earlier was they have created the most total pressures when blitzing this season. Todd Bowles has done an outstanding job of creating pressure, but Jared Goff has been outstanding against the blitz this season. 5th best passing grade in football, 1st in adjusted completion percentage, and he's only taken 1 sack when he's been blitzed this season, fewest in the NFL. So when you look at the matchup of Jared Goff needing to get rid of the football quickly and over the middle of the field, like you're going to talk about where the Lions like to throw the ball so often, those are 2 big factors. I think a lot of this game on the Lions side, obviously the run game is a big factor too. We know this. They want to run the football, but in those passing situations, it's Jared Goff versus Todd Bowles. How does he handle pressure? How does he see it? Does he get the football to the right windows like he's been doing all year?
So for me, the keys in this game is how the Buccaneers defend 2 players specifically, and they're kind of obvious ones. Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jahmyr Gibbs. How you defend those players, I think, is paramount, and that puts 2 players into the X factor categories for me. The first one is Savasier Dennis, the linebacker from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who really struggled with Bijan Robinson out of the gate in their first game. Bijan really cooked him. He had a bad day in coverage. And we just talked about the Falcons. Bijan's one of the best in the NFL, but so is Jahmyr Gibbs as a receiver out of the backfield. Now, Dennis has had the 2 highest graded coverage games that he's had this season over the last 2 weeks. And so he's kind of put that first week behind him, and he's gotten a little bit better, which is very, very important for them. So mitigating the damage that Jahmyr Gibbs can do as a receiver out of the backfield, I think it's going to be very key in this game. The Buccaneers were able to make some adjustments when defending Christian McCaffrey last week. Can they do those same things to really disrupt how Jahmyr Gibbs gets involved in the pass game? That is priority number 1. Priority number 2, or maybe you want to flip these, Amon-Ra St. Brown. A little bit of a quiet day last week. I think they are going to try to really build a game plan around this guy to be able to move the ball deep down the field and try to score a lot of points and put a lot of points on the scoreboard. Jacob Parrish, the Bucs rookie, I think is going to be paramount for this game specifically, because Zion McCollum, he might be back in this game. He'll probably see Amon-Ra St. Brown a little bit, but specifically, St. Brown moves around a ton, plays in the slot, plays on the outside. It's Jacob Parrish who really is going to be matched up with him a good amount in this game, especially because he's been able to get a lot of experience throughout the early parts of this season. The last 3 games that he has played, we have the highest coverage grade that Jacob Parrish has had so far in his career in this week, or in this year. The lowest, by far, against the Seattle Seahawks. And then, once again, the second highest coverage grade in a single game that he has had. So it has been a busy 3 weeks for him. But I genuinely look at even that Seattle game where he struggled, and I go, yeah, I mean, he gave up some catches, but damn, he's still close in coverage. He's kind of close to making that play, and, like, he is yielding the catch. Like, that is happening. but I still think that he's right there for it. So I think he's going to be up to the challenge from a guy like Amon-Ra St. Brown. And I'm not saying that he's going to shut him out or anything like that. I think St. Brown's going to get his. He's one of the most talented receivers in the NFL to do so. But I think it's those two X factors in this game. Of course, there's the conversation about the trenches and Hutchinson, now Kadeem Muhammad going up against the Bucs offensive line and how Baker Mayfield plays and, what version of Mike Evans are they going to get if Mike Evans is going to come back in this game. So there's all of those factors there. But it really, with two fantastic teams, to me, it boils down to those two matchups specifically. Can the Bucs defend those two star players in the passing game for the Lions enough for some Baker Mayfield magic to happen like it's happened a handful of times this year? Of course.
Oh, of course.
In a coin flip game, I'm using a two-headed coin. I'm taking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here. I'm going to take them to win 27-23. It's a coin flip game. I don't know who's going to win. This one's in Detroit, but the Bucs went into Detroit, what was it, last year, the year before? I can't remember when it was right at the beginning of the season, and they ended up getting a victory in Detroit. So it's not like this can't happen. They're one of the few teams to be able to do that, and I think the team's even better this time around, even with some of their injuries. So I'm going to take the Bucs in this one to win a close one, 27-23.
Dangerous part of that is Emeka Egbuka is probably not playing this week, and how can the Bucs go into Detroit with Cameron Johnson, Tej Johnson, Sterling Shepard, maybe Chris Godwin will be back? Can they go in with that crew, even though the Lions have a lot of injuries at cornerback, and still put up the explosive plays in the passing game? I'm with you. I mean, Baker Mayfield's never going to go away, so it's going to be a tight game no matter what. But I think the Lions offensively, I think they find a way to score enough points here. I have it 27-21 Detroit. I think Jahmyr Gibbs does get going. The third guy I want to throw in there as far as an X factor too, I think Sam Laporta is a big factor in this game too. When you talk about how much in general Levante David and Servassier Dennis have struggled at linebacker to cover in space, I think Laporta could play a big factor in that too. So, you always have a shot with Mayfield, and if Todd Bowles can get the pressure home on Goff, then you're in a good spot. But I'm going to take the Lions here. I'm going to go against you on this one.